Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, and today we're taking a look at this new McFarlane Batman based on his Hush appearance, and I thought this Batman looked pretty great. I keep telling myself I'm not going to keep really buying these McFarlane figures, but I do love Batman. And then McFarlane released the odd Batman figure that I just can't help but picking up, and this was definitely one of them. This looks really good. It looks like it could maybe be my favourite McFarlane Batman figure. I do really like the Arkham Batman they released, the one they released last, I think, from Arkham City. I like the original Arkham Asylum one they released as well, but I thought the Arkham City Batman looked great. I don't really mind I don't like the movie Batman one that much, especially as times went by. I kind of like it less and less, but I thought it was alright. And then we also looked at the Dark Knight Returns Batman here on the channel, which I actually did really like. A couple things here and there that I wasn't a big fan of, and I'll compare them later on. But, you know, this one looked pretty good, and it's McFarlane. They retail for like 20 quid. I thought I'd pick him up, and so he's finally arrived, and I really want to take a closer look at him here on the channel, get him out the box and get him out on display. So let me know what you guys think of the McFarlane Batman figures down in the comment section below. What is your favourite? What do you think of this one right here? While you're down there guys, if you could do me a massive favour, as always, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and let's not wait any longer. Let's take a closer look at this Hush Batman. So taking a quick look at the box that it comes in, it's just the McFarlane box we've seen time and time again. Batman Hush on the side, DC Multiverse up the top, Batman here. Actually really nice image on the back, pretty famous image, I've seen this quite a lot. Batman Hush up the top left, get the artwork. No write-up or anything, but of course that is normally on the trading card that comes with these figures, and the trading card just has the same image that is on the back, but I do like that. I like the artwork that they've used. And then we get the write-up here, so hit the pause button if you want to read that now. And then we get a couple of other accessories. So we get two batarangs. I think these are the exact same. Yeah, no difference on these, but I do like them. They look pretty good. I'm glad we get two of them, better than nothing. And we get these interchangeable hands as well. So we get the fisted hand for his left arm, and then we get the fisted hand with the kryptonite ring for his right arm. And I actually do really like that. Kryptonite ring looks alright. I do like the green they've used. I like it contrasting with the blue, and I think it's pretty cool that we get the option to swap that round. And then we get the figure itself. So the figure did come with a display stand, and thank God, because this thing's a bit of a mess to get to stand. I've had to like move his legs around to try and get him to stand up. When his legs were straight, it was just, I don't know, it's a bit loose up at the top here. I mean, straight out the box it is pretty loose, in both legs. I don't know if there's maybe a way to tighten that, but really annoying. And then to try and get him balanced with his feet flat was just a nightmare. And so yeah, I definitely made use of the stand. Is he gonna stand? Yeah, I don't know, just a bit of a hassle straight out the box. Maybe if I play around with it a wee bit more, I'll get there, but we get the stand with it, so I suppose I can't complain too much. And so looking at the figure itself, I really like the colours that they've used here. I think the yellow looks really nice, and the blue is just magnificent. I love the blue they've used on this Batman, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to pick it up. I think the cape looks great, really nicely sculpted. It's a bit heavy. I think that might be part of the problem with trying to get him to stand, but it looks good. I really like the colours they've used on this side of the cape, the dark blue at the bottom here, kind of merging in with the rest of it. So I love the blue they've used all over this figure. I mean, it looked really shiny in some of the pictures I've seen on Instagram. It definitely doesn't look as shiny now I've got them in hand or on camera here, but it does have a nice shine to it. It is a nice deep blue that I just think looks great, and it was one of the reasons I really wanted to pick this up. And I think it does contrast well with this darker grey that they've used. The yellow fits in so well. I think the colours of this thing are just awesome. I think they've absolutely nailed the colours. I think the head sculpt is really nice as well, and it just complements those colours. I mean, I love the length of the ears, the eyes look great, the way he's kind of scowling, plain expression in the mouth area, but good paint that they've used for the flesh tone in the lips. Head sculpt's great. I do have a wee gripe just with the kind of gappage here between the cowl and the cape. And something I'll quickly look at, I guess, is the articulation, not just now but later on. There's no articulation in the neck area. It all happens, well, at the lower neck. There's nothing at the head area, and I guess that's why we get a bit of this gappage going on, but it's not terrible. Of course, you do need to kind of move it around to actually see the gappage there, but definitely something worth noting. And I have seen a lot of people kind of complain about the lack of articulation in the head area. I've said it before in Batman videos, I'm not too bothered about the posability. Batman looks great in a vanilla pose, so yeah, not something that's, you know, putting me off personally, but yeah, the articulation definitely does suffer a wee bit on these McFarlane figures. As I said, the belt looks great. I think it's a nice sculpt, pretty simple, got all the pouches, you get the blue pants on his crotch area, and then yeah, the bat logo looks great. I think it's a really good size, it's sculpted on there, just really nice. I love it. You get the gauntlet, it's got the 3 wee spiky bits here, and they're hard plastic, they're not going to move or bend or anything, so I do like that. I'm a bit wary when you get a Batman figure and the fins there are just a bit flimsy, so yeah, I do like how it's hard plastic. You get the hands, and I suppose that's going to hold one of the batarangs, right? Let's check it out. Yeah, that works. Happy with that. And yeah, kind of other open, kind of holding hand on the other arm. And then something that I complained about with the Dark Knight Returns Batman, I think the legs are just a wee bit too long. I'm not sure, they're alright, definitely not as standoutish as the Dark Knight Returns Batman, but they do seem to be a wee bit on the long side. But yeah, maybe just a tiny wee bit. I think they're alright. You've got the shiny blue in the boots again, you've got that toe articulation. But talking about the Dark Knight Returns Batman and how the legs are really long, let's compare this Batman to some others. And so here we have our new McFarlane Hush Batman next to the McFarlane Dark Knight Returns Batman. And I think both of these are really good Batman figures. I think McFarlane have done really well to capture the likeness from both of these Batman stories. And what one you prefer is definitely just going to come down to what look you prefer for Batman, because both of these figures are pretty similar when it comes to the articulation, the proportions and things. But it is just their version of the different versions of Batman. I personally really prefer the Hush look. I do think this Batman Hush looks just pretty outstanding. It's an eye catcher as well with that blue. I like how tall he's standing. I think the proportions are a wee bit better. The legs are just too long, and it's really noticeable on this figure for me. I know it was part of the build a figure where he could sit on the horse, and that was apparently the reason his legs were a bit too long. As I said, the legs here might still be a bit long for Batman, but it's definitely not as noticeable, especially with the kind of longer body area. Yeah, both good figures, but I'm really rating this Hush one. It just looks the part. And here is our new McFarlane Hush Batman next to the McFarlane Batman movie figure. And as I said at the start, I don't know, I don't like this thing as much as I did. And I think it's just to do with the head sculpt, the eyes moving away, the flesh tone they've used. It's just extremely pale, especially comparing them to some other Batman figures. But I think really my problem is with McFarlane in general. I always have wee problems with every figure that I get. I mean, for this one, it's just the really wobbly, loose legs. Dark Knight Returns, the legs being too long. The articulation is never that great on them. I've said time and time again, my main collection is Marvel Legends. I much prefer that scale. You know, the 6-inch scale I think is just a lot more appealing to me. The McFarlane figures are just way too big, you know, proportion wise. They stand too tall. I don't know, they're bulky, and yeah, not a fan of McFarlane's scale in general. The sculpts are always pretty decent, the paint's always pretty decent, but yeah, I always have wee gripes. And this Batman movie figure. It's decent. I do prefer this Batman Hush figure though. I think, as I said, the paint on it is just pretty eye-catching. It pops. It's really nice to look at. The sculpt's there. If you want a vanilla pose Batman, this is really good. And with talking about scaling things, here is our McFarlane Hush Batman next to a knockoff NECA Michael Keaton Batman movie figure. And the reason I wanted to compare these two, I just filmed a video looking at this guy that I will release very soon, and I spoke a lot more about this figure in that video, of course. But I do much prefer the NECA scale. I mean, even NECA figures are quite a bit bigger than the likes of Marvel Legends, but you can still see how much bigger McFarlane is from NECA, and I would much prefer if McFarlane scaled down to like this sort of scale. Of course that's not going to happen at this point, they've released so many figures, but it just goes to show how big their figures are, especially comparing it next to a NECA figure. And to bring in another NECA figure, because I love the combination of Batman and the Turtles. I mean, they are just a killer combo. Here is the NECA Donatello figure, and once again this thing is just so much bigger. It is hard to fit this thing into any collection unless it's a bunch of other McFarlane figures. And yeah, I mean, it's good. I do like this piece, but the scale just throws me off again. And so, as I said, I'll run over the articulation, or I'll try and run over all the articulation. I always miss something, but you get this articulated neck, just it moves left and right. It's pretty stiff. All the joints in this are pretty stiff, but left and right, and it will move. Oh, it actually moves really far down. That's actually pretty awesome. That looks really cool actually from that angle. And let's see, it'll go about that far up. So yeah, moves really far down, moves left and right, and that's it in the head area. Get the arms moving about that far up, and they only go like that far in at the body. I would like it if it moved a bit further in. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and you can move the wrist backwards and forwards and rotate that around. Same articulation in this arm here. There is a bit of a butterfly joint, but I don't think it moves enough to actually be classed as a butterfly joint. You get this articulation just under the chest, and it moves left and right. Not really much of a crunch at all. Nothing really in the waist either. You can get the leg kicking about that far forward, about that far back, and you can see that that kind of moves the pant area around. And once again, just super loose, and that is a big issue I'm having with this figure. Move about that far out the way, double jointed knees, and yeah, that was pretty stiff at first, but that's moving fine. Ankle moves backwards and forwards, it pivots around, it's on this sort of like ball joint ankle, and then you get the toe articulation as well. The articulation is decent. I think most McFarlane figures kind of come with this articulation. The range of movement just isn't that great, I find, and the joints are just always a bit annoying with these McFarlane figures. This one is no different. It's just the kind of standard that come with all these McFarlane figures. And so there we have it for this McFarlane Batman Hush action figure, and I really like it. I think it looks pretty damn good. I really like the colours they've used here. The blue is just awesome. The yellow contrasts so well, and the dark grey really just brings it all together. I love the Batman logo. It's sculpted really nicely on there. Yeah, it is good. It just suffers from the usual problems that I have with McFarlane. I think it is just a bit too big. Proportions are a wee bit off, but overall it's decent, and it's alright for the £20 price mark. If once again you want a Batman that you're just going to kind of have in a standard vanilla pose, this is definitely going to be one of the top contenders from McFarlane. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. While you're down there, guys, if you could do me a massive favour, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'll leave the link to my Instagram down in the description below, so feel free to check that out. And feel free to hop on over to the channel page as well and check out any of my other videos over there. It would definitely mean a lot, and it means a lot that you've watched this video right here. So thank you guys so much, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip flop later. Cheers.